welcome to RoboTalk. Today I'm here with Zayden from Team 11212, the Clueless, from San Diego, California. This team is just a crazy embodiment of what a First Tech Challenge team should be. In Freight Frenzy 2022, they were the finalist alliance captain, they were an Inspire Award finalist, and this year in Center Stage, they're the winning alliance first team selective of the entire championship. They were the Division Inspire Award winner, and it's just these guys are a crazy team and a very cool team to learn about. So, without further ado, hello Zayden, welcome to RoboTalk. Welcome to our first episode of RoboTalk. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, without
Good.
further ado, let's get us started. So, just tell us a little bit about the Clueless and you know what a little bit about your team.
Sure. So we're a team based out of San Diego, California. We have 14 members currently. We're a community team, so I think we have members from 5 different high schools. Um, we're fully student run, so that means all of the decisions, whether it be the robot side or the outreach side, it's all done by the students. And then, so I think that's the cool part of being on the Clueless. Um, and yeah, we're all passionate about robotics and proud to be part of FIRST.
So that's really cool. I mean, you guys are just a crazy team. So it's really nice to learn about how you guys are throughout this little conversation today. So starting
Mhm.
off, could you walk us through what that journey is from your robotics journey and maybe the team's journey in the past few years and what it's been like all to leading to this year where you won world championship.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, Freight Frenzy season, we were the finalist alliance captain. That was a big year for us, but that same year, almost all of the team members were graduating, aside for like 2 or 3 members. So, following our success in Freight Frenzy, we did a lot of rebuilding through just recruitment and then kind of training up new members. Through that process, we did off-season challenges, and we just tried to get the new recruits as involved as possible to get them up to speed and kind of train them to the same level. Those new recruits are essentially what make up the center stage team now. We treated the power play season as largely a rebuilding year, as we were all learning the lessons that the Freight Frenzy generation learned previously, and we're learning those lessons again. And then obviously we didn't advance to the worlds in power play, but I think the team was very strong then. And so taking what we learned in power play, we then used center stage as like our year where we really wanted to push to do as well as we could, and it worked out for us. So yeah, basically power play was the rebuilding year, and center stage was the year that we like tried really hard.
Yeah, that I mean it really paid off. That even that the power play robot and like your Freight Frenzy robot, all of these have been like super cool. I mean, just the way they look, the way they're packaged, including this year, just very cool. So, I mean, of course, with all the success, challenges arise. So, could you tell us what are some of the biggest challenges you faced? I mean, I guess during the 2024 center stage season and maybe like previous years, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge we faced this year came from our original design on the robot. Our deposit system that we initially envisioned was a very complicated 5 axis arm that deposited horizontally to the backdrop. And we really wanted to pursue this design, and we had like all these complex algorithms to get it to work. But mechanically, it was very challenging. So we brought it to our first competition, and we went 0-6. Like we lost every single match. But then we kind of realized that we needed to pursue something simpler. So I think the lesson from that is even if you spend a lot of time and invest a lot of resources into a design, that if it's not working out, it's okay to switch to something simpler or a different approach. Because when we switched to the simple claw design that we brought to Worlds and to like our regional tournament as well, it was super successful for us just because it was so simple and reliable.
Oh wow, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, reliability is just like a crazy thing with the Clueless. I mean, especially you guys had that insane world record of 416 points, and yeah, that's really cool to hear that. So, I mean, that was a instance of that, but now moving on to some, you know, to the world championship itself, and moving on to a little bit to the Inspire Award. What was winning the Division Inspire Award like to you guys? I mean that is crazy. I mean, especially since you were a finalist in Freight Frenzy, and then this year you won the Division Inspire Award. Could you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
It was unexpected. I mean, at our regional tournament, we got third place in Spire, and Robotics, who was also at Worlds, got first place. So right off the bat, we didn't think that our Inspire game would be like the very best, but I guess it worked out for us. And then in addition to that, the way it works in San Diego, in order to get the Inspire Award in the first place, you have to have like the TCI award, so like the think uh, and like the design based award. Then you also have to get either connect or motivate, and then you also have to win the think award. All of those obviously third or second place, and then if you win all of those awards, then you can have a shot at winning Inspire. Uh, and we thought that was how it would be at Worlds as well. So when we didn't win any of those awards, uh, early on, we kind of thought that we weren't in the running for Inspire. So it was very unexpected for us. Um, I guess actually, when we were at Worlds, we were called up to get our trophy and like the medals for being the finalist or like the winning alliance for the Franklin division. And so we were already in line with that trophy to take pictures and everything. Um, we didn't even hear them announce us for Inspire until some people like came over to us and told us. So yeah, none of us were expecting it.
Yeah, that just blows my mind that the winners of the world championship also came home with the Division Inspire Award. That is something to be very proud of. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, if you don't mind sharing, is there any like outreach aspects that sets the Clueless apart or something like that where, that really shows you how, good of a team you guys are, and something that's pretty nice that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think our outreach is that different from what other teams are doing, but I think one thing that sets us apart is we try to cover all the different areas of outreach that you can with our different initiatives. So, whether it be connecting with professionals or just reaching out to the community, we do like demos, um, mentoring, all that kind of stuff. And then we also package it very nicely when we present it, talking about how like we have a central narrative about how we're trying to help the community, help underserved people get into robotics, all that kind of stuff that I think helps us to stand out.
Wow, that is very cool. So, I mean, I of course there's a lot to talk about, just you guys with Inspire, but I mean, you know, let's move on to, winning the world championship. So, of course, you're robot. So, let's move on to a little bit there. I mean, I'm sure, since many people have asked you about your robot, there's been a lot of things like walkthroughs and stuff like that. But could you, I mean, maybe share like what are the features that is like super innovative or something that you really like on the robot?
Yeah. So I would say that our most innovative part of the robot is the deposit system, for three main reasons. So first of all, the linear slides that extend upwards, we have a counter springing system that uses bungee cord. Essentially, we bundle up the bungee cord cord on the side of our slides and then string it opposite of the actual string that pulls the slide up. And so what this does is when the slides are fully down, the bungee cord is at its maximum tension. And then as the slides extend upwards, the tension decreases. So what this allows us to do is have the slides be at different positions and hold itself up in that position, which was very helpful for precision and to not stall the motors. But second of all, on our claw specifically, our claw is actuated by a single servo, but we're able to release the pixels independently, and that's because we offset the two claw prongs using a rubber band. So essentially, we open up one of them slightly, it drops the first pixel, and then we continue turning the servo, and it'll drop the second pixel. So that's what's pretty innovative there. And then lastly, just the reorientation mechanism. We put a prong onto our deposit system, onto the claw, that can rotate, and then we can use that to move pixels around on the backdrop.
Wow. So obviously, like, this season was a little bit different with things like, shooting an airplane and things like that. So what was kind of your, like, how did you approach since kickoff? How did you come to this design? Like, were there iterations, and what was your, like, process for this?
Yeah, so I think the only thing that we were set on from the very beginning of the season was that we wanted to have a simple mechanism drivetrain, as well as like the slides angled 30 degrees to be at the same angle as the backdrop. Everything else we kind of iterated over time and tested different solutions. So on our intake, for example, we started out with uptake rollers that use surgical tubing, and then the whole process from there, we went through about 8 different iterations to get to our final design using TPU rollers and optimized funnel geometry. So lots of iteration goes into it over the season. We just fix what's causing the biggest delay in our scoring speed. I already mentioned our deposit, how we switched it from a very complex design to a very simple design. But our main approach to the season, we think it's a good idea to spend a lot of time just brainstorming different solutions and then picking the few ones that could work. And from there, you can test multiple ideas and see what actually will be the fastest.
Definitely. So, I mean, did your actual, like, game strategy evolve throughout the season? I mean, kind of similar to the last question, but did it kind of change, like, a lot throughout the season, or was it more consistent?
I mean, I think it's pretty consistent. The game itself doesn't have much strategy, in my opinion, besides just intaking pixels and then scoring it on the backdrop. But I think if anything changed, it would be that we started from this idea that we wanted to just be able to drop as many pixels as we could on the backdrop. But then eventually we realized maybe it's better to go for precision and try to get the most optimal mosaic setups to get those bonus points there. And so when we started doing that, we saw ourselves being a bit more successful score-wise.
Very cool. So, moving on a little bit away from the robot aspect, although, again, there's a lot to talk about with the robot. Um, what, seeing as you guys have had a lot of successful years in the past, do you have any, goals for any upcoming seasons or, like, the next season?
I mean, the only higher award is the Inspire Award at Worlds. So that's what we're kind of set on right now, trying to win Inspire. At the same time, a lot of our members are seniors right now, so we're going to be busy with applying to college and all of that, of course. So we'll try to balance it, but I think for the members that are like still very motivated, which is almost everyone, we're definitely going for Inspire.
Wow, definitely. And then, do you guys, like, have any advice for, maybe some new teams that are new to first, or just starting with first? I mean, anything that you think that would help them that maybe helped you guys in to achieving to where you are right now?
Yeah, I think one thing that a lot of people don't do that I would suggest is watch a lot of the other tournaments that are going on in different regions and see what designs other people are using and what's successful in like videos, live streams, behind the bot, also in the FTC Discord, Robot Showcase, and what just see what people are doing and what's successful because you can get an idea of what's working really well and what's not working so well. And if you're ever having problems, you can always get inspiration from other teams.
Wow, that's yeah, I completely agree. And then, more on the team aspect of you guys. How, I mean, of course many teams have, their ups and their downs. How do you guys, stay motivated, stay, having that drive to succeed? How do you maintain like a positive aspect?
Yeah, so we're a very competitive team, but beyond that, we're all close friends. We do a lot of team bonding and just like getting together as a team. So, like for example, after every tournament, we usually go out and get boba or something just to celebrate and hang out. Um, and I think that like friendly aspect makes it a fun environment where it's not super stressful and it's not super competitive within the team. We're all just motivated to try our best because we have the common goal of wanting to do well in competition. And so, with that common goal, we're able to come together as friends and then get along very well and have that like lighthearted environment that helps all of us do a lot better when it comes to just doing robotics as a whole.
Definitely. And, speaking of your team, could you share us a bit about like how you guys your organizational structure is, and kind of like what is the team like?
Yeah, so uh, we use Slack as our primary form of communication. It's essentially like Discord, and we just have all of our members there. We have different channels for different things. So, for example, mechanical outreach announcements, the different text channels. Uh, and so we do all of our communication and planning there. And then for meetings, we usually do virtual meetings every week within the three sub teams, being the mechanical sub team, the software sub team, and the outreach sub team. So anyone can join those meetings, but the core members are always there. And then beyond what's discussed in the individual meetings, we have full team meetings occasionally online or in person where everyone updates each other on what's been going on, and we do the planning that requires everyone to be there. I guess more in depth on these meetings. So in the weekly meetings for each sub team, we do a lot of planning on when people are going to come into the garage. So one of our main goals that I think helps teams be very like on track is making sure hardware and software never conflict in when they need the robot. And so we always try to talk with our software team to make sure that their time on the robot is not a time that we're also going to be there doing stuff. So that helps us stay organized. And then more broadly, we use a master schedule that where we just timeline out when we want everything to be done by. So, for example, when do we want the robot to be in a functional state that software can start working on it? And we timeline all of these things out so that we can make sure when we meet those deadlines that the other team is the other sub team is ready to progress from there and we're not holding each other back.
And then the timeline for this, do you guys like decide this at the beginning of the season, or is it just kind of like as it goes?
Yeah, so we decided at the beginning of the season. For us, it was from kickoff all the way to the regional tournament, and then we made a new timeline between the end of regionals to worlds.
Okay. So, of course, there's a lot more questions that, anyone could come up with, especially since, this is a, crazy team. And, but more for like a personal aspect of you, what has been, your most memorable, most favorite moment while you've been a member of the Clueless?
Winning worlds. I mean, it was none of us expected it, but
That's yeah, that would
it was
definitely be a
definitely
crazy
the
memory.
most memorable. Um, yeah, this was actually my first year on the Clueless, the center stage season. I've been in FTC for 3 years, but I recently switched on to the Clueless this past year, so um, I wasn't very involved in Freight Frenzy or Power Play. So as far as center stage goes, definitely winning worlds. Um, and then I guess more specifically on that, uh, we were going against like a very strong alliance, and we kind of thought from the start that whatever alliance we were in, we were gonna get cooked by RKA and whoever and like Road to D2, and the other divisions were a lot stronger, um, and so we kind of thought this was confirmed when we lost the first match, and we're like, yeah, we essentially need two miracles. First of all, our third pick uh, has to somehow pull off a win against what we thought was their best comp, Road 2D2 plus Robo Kings. And somehow we won that. And then somehow we won with our AI Citizens and Clueless against their first two teams who we lost to in the first match. So yeah, we didn't expect it, but when it happened, it was definitely very memorable.
And yeah, that sounds like it would be a extremely memorable moment. I mean, you know, being the world champions, that you don't hear that a lot. So, I wanted to, really thank you for your time. I really want to thank you for sharing your experiences about the Clueless and, what it was like. And, I hope to talk to you again someday.
Yeah, of course.